Hi everyone, this is class 1. For the past 2 days, we've been working on some very important topics like service and joy, hope, love, and prayer, and also St. Jacob Berdona. So today we're going to focus on service and the story of the Good Samaritan. So what Jesus is trying to tell us is that we should all love each other like a neighbor should, and that is regardless of if we're enemies or best friends. So we hope you enjoyed our little skit from class 1.
One day, Jesus was talking to a big crowd of people. He was telling a lot of stories and a lot of parables. The crowd was enjoying their time listening to Jesus. All of a sudden, a man stood up in the crowd. And he said to Jesus,
"Well, what do you think the Bible has to say about going to heaven?" The man said, "Love God with all your heart and you love your neighbor as yourself."
Jesus said, "Great job, Alexander. You answered correctly. You should do this and you will go to heaven."
"That's great," said the man, "but I do not understand this thing about the neighbor. Who is supposed to be my neighbor?" And Jesus said, "Story time."
Jesus started telling his story. One day, a man was going on a journey. He was going on a journey from Jerusalem to Jericho. And while he was walking happily on his journey, 3 robbers came up behind him. And they started beating him up. They took his money. They ripped off his clothes. They kicked him. They punched him. And they beat him till he was almost dead. And then they stood there and they started laughing at him. And they left him for the dead on the side of the road.
The man on the side of the road started yelling out, "Somebody help me! I'm hurt and I'm broken and I can't get up. Can someone please help me? I'm going to die." Sometime later, a priest from a nearby church came that way. When he saw the traveler lying on the road, bleeding and groaning, he decided to say a prayer. "Dear God, please help this man recover from this beating." The priest thought to himself, "Should I help him? But I have service at the church and I have to be there in 20 minutes. You know what? This man looks like he's going to die anyways. I'm going to go."
Woman came by. She was so terrified by the sight of a bloody and moaning traveler lying on the side of the road. And the Jewish man started making some noise. Somebody help me! Somebody help me, please! It hurts! I'm going to die!
The Levite woman knew that the poor man had been robbed, and she did not want the same thing to happen to her. So she stepped aside and went on her way. Maybe I'll help someone another day, the Levite woman said.
Some time passed, and then a Samaritan, an inhabitant of the city of Samaria, came riding out on his donkey. He was in a great hurry. He was in a great hurry, and when he saw the traveler lying on the road, he stopped the donkey. He told the donkey to stop so that he could help. The Samaritan walked up to the man and said, "Are you all right?"
The man replied, "I was beaten up by a group of mean robbers, and now I am hurt. I feel so much pain right now. Please, please help me." And the Samaritan took some bandages out of his satchel. And he started cleaning the wounds with water. Even though the Jews and Samaritans were not supposed to be friends back in the day, the Good Samaritan didn't care. He washed the man's wounds with whatever little water he had. He put Band-Aids on him. He put oil on him. He gave him medication so he can feel better. He bandaged all his wounds and told the man, "Don't worry. Everything will be all right." He then took the man and put him on the donkey and took him to the nearest inn to look for shelter.
They found an inn, and there the Good Samaritan told the innkeepers, "Please give this man shelter, food, and treatment, just until he gets better, and I will pay for all of it." The Good Samaritan stayed with the man till he was feeling much better. Afterwards, the Jewish man got all better and took all the bandages off and was so happy because he made a new friend.
Now Jesus was speaking to the crowd, and he said, "Now can you all tell me which of these three men behaved like a neighbor?"
Did the priest behave like a good neighbor? No. Did the Levite behave like a good neighbor? No. Did the Samaritan behave like a good neighbor?
Yes. And which one would you like to be?
The Samaritan, said Jesus, showed fellowship and kindness of a neighbor to a total stranger. This is how I want all of you to be. Be like the Samaritan and love everyone. Every man in need is your neighbor. The end. to pick him up.